Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the Infinite Baffle channel. My name is Niall and today, if you couldn't tell from this horrendous jumper that I'm wearing, this is going to be the closest video you guys will see to Christmas Day. So if you're watching this, I hope you have a fantastic Christmas and holiday period. Today we're going to be looking at the AUDIOLAB 9000A. I figured, you know, given the timing of the video, the fact that it's going up over Christmas, the time of giving, the time of presents, this is actually an amplifier that I treated myself to earlier this year, a bit of a present to myself, so what better to cover over the Christmas period. I've had it for about 6 months now. I thought I'd talk about what made me purchase it, what stood out for me, and just my general experience with the amp over the last 6 months of using it. If you didn't see the video that went up earlier this week, we covered the Cyrus 40 streamer and amplifier. Thank you guys for your support on that upload as always. If you do enjoy this one, make sure to leave a big thumbs up on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. We briefly talked about, in the Cyrus video, the fact that the Spotify Wrapped, the year in reviews in music were all going up. I'd love to hear in this video in the comment section what has been your favourite album of 2024, favourite new album. For me, I had a good long hard think about this. It kind of changes as the months go on. Earlier in the year, I was absolutely heavily playing Lizzie McAlpine's new album, Older. Absolutely adore that album. But in more recent times, I've actually discovered an album by an artist called Nolene Hoffman. She's like a country singer. It's quite a short album, very raw, quite new, I think, quite new onto the scene, so to speak. And I'm really loving that album as well. So if you really like your female vocalist, if you're into your country music, would really recommend Nolene Hoffman's album. And again, if you're into your female vocalist, as I am, Lizzie McAlpine, just a really well produced kind of alternative pop, I guess, kind of album as well. But let me know yours in the comment section down below. Yeah, what have been your favourite new albums of 2024? And yeah, without further ado, let's get stuck into the 9000A. As always, when we cover hi-fi kit on the channel, we like to kick things off by talking about the aesthetics and the design. And I think the 9000A is actually a bit of a classic design on that front. I mean, AUDIOLAB, they've got this standard size. I say that because obviously looking at the Cyrus earlier in the week, that's got a half amp design. This is a full standard size amplifier. Really simple design. You've got your headphone port on the front headphone jack, 3 dials, one for volume, one for mode, and then one to select your the input that you're using. So this here is going to switch between, you know, Bluetooth, phono, your various inputs on the back of the unit as well. And this here is going to change between the different modes that you can listen to the system in. So whether you're using it in an integrated mode, a pre-power mode, whatever it may be, you use this to select. And then to go into the deeper settings, you click the buttons in and you can change things such as what's on the screen on the end, which is really cool. By default, I believe it just shows track information. No album art, which is a bit of a shame. It just literally has pure text showing album information when you're playing via Bluetooth, or it just has like a vinyl spinning image when you're playing via the phono stage that's built into this thing. Or you can have it showing things like digital VU meters. It's a really nice display, but as I say, I think when you're playing wirelessly, it would be nice to see album art as well as track information. You can get the unit in both black and silver. Personally, I opted for the black just because I think it's a bit more neutral and goes with what I've got a little bit better. But I do like the fact that with the silver unit, the screen being off to one side here really has a nice contrast with the rest of the unit, and I think that looks really cool. The metal casework and the really high build quality gives me a really industrial vibe. And yeah, like I say, I think it's just a bit of a classic design, to be honest with you. At this point in the video, I will put some of the specifications in the background for you guys to look at, and I will put these in the description down below, as well as a link to the 9000A below as well. The specs you can see are based on this running in integrated mode, and the things that really stood out to me when choosing this were firstly the 100 watts of power per channel going into 8 ohms. Plenty of power to drive even the most difficult speakers there, and again, that was a big appeal to me. The phono stage that's built into the unit is also absolutely fantastic. As someone that listens to a lot of vinyl, that again was a really key feature. And I just love the fact that although it's not an all-in-one, this is a really flexible unit. Again, great phono stage, wireless connectivity, plenty of inputs, and then obviously lots of potential if you did want to add to the system down the line as well. Coming in at £2,000 or just shy of £2,000, 1999. Again, it's obviously a pretty premium piece of kit, but I do think it gives you a lot of flexibility and a lot of performance as well. What is really interesting is, as I'm recording this, Audiolab have also just released a 9000 preamp power package. I would love to know how that compares to the integrated. I've not had the chance to listen to that myself yet, but 9000A, I mean, we'll talk about the sound in just a second, but as a bit of a summary, very powerful, very flexible, and just really nice and easy to use as well. Having all of this power, having the fantastic phono stage built in, and having the Bluetooth connectivity are all absolutely fantastic features that drew me to the 9000A. But it isn't without its drawbacks. It doesn't have any tonal control, which is something that'll put a lot of people off, unless you add, I think you could add an EQ into the system and that would give you that functionality. However, you know, strictly talking, out of the box, the 9000A doesn't have any tone controls. It doesn't have a HDMI input at all, never mind HDMI eARC, which again, I know a lot of people really like to have on their amplifiers. That seems an even more of an odd omission considering the fact that it's on the 7000A, which is the level below this. And also it doesn't have AirPlay support either. Again, you could add a streamer on to give you that if you wanted to, I guess. But, you know, again, out of the box, no AirPlay support. So 3 pretty big omissions there, but they weren't enough to put me off the 9000A, because where I think its strengths lie are in its sound and its phono stage, which is what we're going to come to talk about now. So in my system, I've got the 9000A partnered up with a separate turntable. Obviously, we spoke about the fact that I listen to records, listen to vinyl, and then some Focal Aria 826 floor standards. And what the Audiolab does fantastically well for me is shows the speakers exactly for what they are. Now, again, I spoke about personal preferences. I adore the sound signature of Focal speakers. I think they're warm. I think they've got a great level of detailing in them. They've got a wonderful stage. And what the Audiolab does is delivers a fantastic amount of power to get the most out of the speakers, but it also gives a really clean, transparent signal, which allows the speakers to sound incredibly natural. Now, again, that's not going to be for everyone. Some people are going to want a bit more colour in their speakers, but for me, I adore the way the Audiolab and the Focal work together. The fantastic amount of the power that the 9000A delivers really helps drive the Focals and makes me feel like I'm getting the most out of the system whilst delivering a really crisp, clear, transparent mid-range and treble. I spoke it in the Cyrus video, you know, I'm a big fan of female vocalists. I love really stripped back music, and that again is where I think the Audiolab helps the system shine. It delivers really clear, stunning vocals and fantastic musical instrumentation when you're listening to the music. I think the area that it might lack a little bit in is the low end. For me, that's not a massive problem. Again, I think that's the way the Focals are. I think the low end is sufficient. I think it's there. I think it's smooth, but it's not a particularly punchy, aggressive bass. And again, if you wanted that, you could always add the subwoofer into the system to give you that. But again, for me, I prefer the more smooth, relaxed instrumentation, the musical kind of warm sound. And again, I think the Audiolab does a fantastic job of essentially showing the speakers for how they should be shown. If you're someone that really adores a speaker manufacturer's sound signature, or maybe like a specific model of a manufacturer's speaker, and you want that to sound natural and as it should be heard, I think there are not many amplifiers better than that than the 9000A for the £2,000 price point. Like I say, it's clear, it's transparent, and it really helps drive the speaker and get the most out of it. When I was first listening to the 9000A, I really struggled to put my finger on how to describe it, to be honest with you, because it is so clean, because it is so transparent. A lot of the time when we talk about hi-fi equipment, whether it be speakers, the amplification, whatever it might be, we'll say, you know, it sounds warm, we'll say it sounds musical, we'll say it sounds bright, we'll say, you know, it's got good timing. And timing is something that it does have in spades. Power is something that it does have in spades. Again, it's a real musical piece of kit, but I'd almost describe it as colourless. I saw someone else say that, and I'm kind of stealing that from them, you know. I think it's a great word to sum up exactly how this is, because it's going to show the speakers for what they are. If you're someone out there that you've got a system, you think it sounds a little bit too bright, you know, perhaps you like the characteristics, but you want to round off the sound a little bit, the 9000A won't do that for you. You know, it won't take a warm system and make it sound a bit brighter, or a bright system and make it sound a little bit warmer. It will show the kit for exactly what it is and maximise the output of that kit. And when I say kit, I mean the speakers here for the most part, obviously. And I love that. You know, I think if you've got something that you like the sound of, this is going to take that and elevate it to the next level and give you this wonderful, in theory, for me at least with the Focals, natural, musical, wonderful sound. And I absolutely adore that. Like I say, it gives you drive, natural sound, and a real transparent signal, which for me is exactly what I want. It's not going to be for everybody, but for me, it's exactly what I wanted from the amplifier. Again, I think it's really key to zone in on your personal listening habits. And for me, the best way you can listen to music is via vinyl, via a record. Now, I love the fact that it's more immersive, to me at least. I think it's much warmer. I think it's just a much more musical way to take in your music is via vinyl. But obviously, as we all know, that isn't the most convenient. So the fact that this has got Bluetooth built into it as well is an absolute necessity for me, because, you know, when I come in after a day at work, am I always putting on a vinyl? No. Sometimes I'm connecting via the phone, put in like a playlist on shuffle or something along, you know, something of that nature. And it's great that you've got the option to do both seamlessly. Now, would it be better if it had AirPlay built in? Yes. Would it be better if it was a, you know, a proper streamer, so to speak, rather than just connecting via Bluetooth? Yes. Do you have the ability to add that if you want to? Yes. You know, there's lots of inputs on here, but, you know, again, speaking of this as a pure 9000A with no other additions, connecting via Bluetooth works really, really well. You know, this is a unit that to me sounds absolutely fantastic. And in terms of day-to-day use, you know, again, I've had one of these for about 6 months now. It just works. It works really, really well. Kind of touched upon it earlier, but to summarize, I think the reason that I love this, again, for me personally, this isn't going to be the same for everybody, but for me personally, this does everything I need to do in one box. It delivers a fantastic amount of power to get the most out of my speakers and gives you a real transparent, clean signal. So if you've got a sound of a speaker that you love, this is without doubt going to help you get the most out of that speaker and show them for what they are. Now, again, as I touched upon earlier, that's not going to be for everybody. Some people are going to want more functionality out of an amplifier. Some people are going to want AirPlay. Some people are going to want tone control. But for me, this unit delivers an absolutely fantastic sound, a great amount of drive, a great amount of power, and just does everything to a really high level. You've also got the ability to obviously add to the unit if you wanted to. So if you did want CD player functionality, that's easy enough to add. If you wanted to add a separate streamer, that's easy enough to add. But for me, it's a fantastic unit. It keeps my system clean in terms of aesthetically and the sound that it delivers, and I absolutely love it. I can tell you after 6 months, it's a system for me that really works fantastically well. So again, if you're someone that wants to get the most out of your speakers and doesn't want to have a whole stack of boxes in a system, the AUDIOLAB 9000A is a fantastic option that you should definitely take a look at.